But cinema, filmmaking is still, a big community, which is the best part of it.
Welcome to this interview, and let's talk about your career, your life, and your experiences working in these amazing projects and movies.
Okay, sure.
Muy buen día, Daniel. Gracias por estar en el canal. Es un honor. Bienvenido. Bueno, yo
Es
quiero.
un placer para mí.
Oh,
All right. Awesome.
Muy bien, Daniel. Yo quisiera poder preguntarte acerca sobre el tema de la dirección de fotografía. Algo muy interesante, importante, es sobre cómo describe la experiencia en el campo de la fotografía. Hay dos producciones importantes, que es Una tenera historia de Jhon Amato y Encantado de Corrado Colombo. Son dos grandes producciones que has contribuido gigante.
We are fans of your work. Also, by the way, he was a previous interview with here, but he's a big fan, so we decided that I will translate some questions and he will translate some others. So let's start with, how do you describe the experience in the field of photography, or the direction of photography, in productions such as Tener Historia de Jhon Amato and Encantado de Corrado Colombo?
My father, Jhon Amato, was always interested in photography. All the jobs that he's done, the one that he liked the most was director of photography. So he never really let it go. So that is kind of, he transmitted that to me, that, photography and cinematography is probably the best job on set. And I must say that I enjoyed doing it, since, when I was a kid, going to the set with him, I was always, showing me the camera, explaining what he was doing. So it's always been, part of my childhood, growing up, was always around the camera. So as I was working, somehow I got in, I met Corrado, and we decided to do this movie together, Encantado. So that was, now it was long ago. It was, many years ago. So we went to Cuba and we did that movie. It was a lot of fun, working with the Cuban crew. It was a lot of interesting, very interesting, and that's how everything went.
All right, big influence in your career, because as you create and you got some experiences working with your father, and now you are developing an interesting, really great CV career working with these amazing directors. And for example, my first question is, remembering those old times when you were in the English Passion and movies like Equilibrium.
Yeah.
I remember I rewatched Equilibrium some days ago. That movie is like a criticism about society, about to love art. In this movie, people defend art, right? And my question is, how important is art for human race? I'm a teacher, and an English teacher in the high school, and I always try to teach my kids, my students, the importance of art. Is human. Art is the best human expression. So for you, how important is to teach these kinds of expressions in schools to motivate kids in the future if they want to work as directors, photographers, artists, musicians? Do you consider it very important in our life, the art expressions?
Well, I think art is very important. Art opens your mind. So it's always good to learn art, and, the way you express it and the way you learn it, makes your brain build in a different way. The good things about art is also mostly there are no borders. Doesn't matter if you come from Italy or from England or from United States, from Colombia. Art is always speaks all the same language. So it's very good for kids to understand that there is something over the borders that we create, and they should keep their mind open, because that would give them a good future. Because if you have an open mind, then you're open to learn other things, to know the way other people live. So it's always good to have an open mind. So art has a big influence in kids. So they should definitely be one of the main, the main lesson to learn about art is the fact there are no borders. Art is always open to anyone. Doesn't matter what language you speak. Doesn't matter where you're coming from. You can come from the worst place in Africa or or New York. It's art. Doesn't matter what where you're from or who you are. So it's always good to have an open mind.
And that was one of the most important plots in Equilibrium movie, defending the art. Thank you so much. You.
Thank you, Master.
Andrew?
More fan of your work had blogged, so I was asking, but no, now it's my turn, Daniel, because it's a similar question as Jose. You got an amazing resume, not only as a director of photography, but also a cameragrapher. And I need to ask you, man, how was, because you were in a lot of pictures with the amazing Ridley Scott, and in fact, you will continue working with him. How was this? I don't know, I call it like this marriage from heaven with that amazing director and you being on the camera with more productions of this genius of cinema.
Well, I always consider myself lucky because I got the chance to work with them. Obviously, as a camera operator, as a cameragrapher, you have to always be very focused. When you're on set, the main thing is to be very concentrated of what you're doing. When I start preparing for a movie, the main things I do is read the script and try to get deep into the script to figure out what the important parts of the story are. And then remember, when you're on set, to keep elements always in your mind so you know what you're looking at. Really, I've been working with him for more than 20 years now. For somehow there is a relation. I mean, not a relation, somehow I got so confident with him that I can kind of predict what he's trying to do, what he's trying to see. So I can always put the camera there where he's expecting to see, what he's seeing on the monitor. So camera operator is a very distinctive job. So you need to always be focused, always to be concentrated on what you're doing. On set, everybody is referring to you, so you have to be always, helping everyone, and try to make it work for everyone as well. So it's fun. I still enjoy being an operator, even if I work as a director of photography. So it's still the best job on set. You're the first one to see a movie. Sometimes, the camera operator is the first person who actually sees the movie. So it's good. It's fun.
Thank you, Master. Bueno, sigue Mosquito. Como lo conocemos, Mosquito, puedes decirle al maestro.
Bueno, no, que es muy emocionante tener la oportunidad de hablar con alguien que ha trabajado como en películas tan icónicas, o sea, Equilibrium, The Cloud Atlas, The Martian. Entonces mi pregunta es ¿cómo digamos, qué abarca en diferentes épocas y géneros, cómo ha sido el impacto del cambio tecnológico en la industria cinematográfica, digamos, a lo largo del trayecto que él ha hecho como cámara, fotografía, y si que ha experimentado en esos avances tecnológicos que han facilitado el trabajo para producción cinematográfica?
¿En la película o el digital?
Esos cambios.
Technological changes, how it affects. Yep, he said that how is the impact or how did change the technological aspects in movies, in recent movies, because you were working in a all times way, like the old way, but now with technology. For you, how?
Well, obviously, switching from film to digital was a big step. It's a different process. So while film, you have the film, you put the roll of film on the camera, you expose it, and then they print it. So it takes a while before you actually see the results. So there's always a bit of curiosity and question marks, and to know if everything's okay or not. Now with digital, you immediately see what you're getting. So it's a different process. sometimes people were relying more on the camera because of, you are the only one who's actually seeing everything. The director of photography is the only one who knows how it is going to come out. With digital, it's all immediate. You can see immediately what the way it looks like, or the way, if there is a problem or anything. So in a way, it's safer, but also you're losing a bit of knowledge, because the only one who knows how it was going to come out, the only one who can interfere in the cinematography, was the director of photography. Now anybody can walk behind the monitor and say, well, it's too dark, or it's too bright, or it's too red, or there is a lot of influence in that way, which is not always good. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good, because everybody feels that he can say something. While for the director of photography, the whole process is creating the images, and because it's his name on the images, he should be able to decide what he wants to do without having to listen to everybody else. So I mean, it's a good side, and there are bad sides, like everything, like the technology that goes on, like computer, or like mobile phone. Before, you didn't have the phone, so you had to meet people, you see people. Now everything's on the phone. You don't see anyone in presence. You can see, like this interview, in the past we could have done in person, or we could not have done in person. So technology is actually helping, because then you can create, you can meet other people in different ways. So it's the only good side and bad side. I enjoy working with film. The fact was more selective, because film was expensive. So before you actually, you were rolling, really knew what you had to do. Now with digitals, there is not much care about what you're doing. You start filming immediately, and because it's not so expensive, it's simple. You end up shooting a lot, so it's more of a quantity than quality. So it's controversial. There are good side and bad side.
Thank you, Master. Bueno, yo quisiera poder decir mi última pregunta para darle el paso a José y a Andrés, y es sobre cómo define su método de realizar cámara para el género de drama y guerra. Bueno, más que todo en cines independientes, pues en general. Hay dos películas que me gustan, pero bueno, no las extiendo.
Dígalas.
Bueno,
No, dígalas.
War Machine y El abogado en el crimen son mis favoritas, pero ¿cómo es un desenvolvimiento como cámara en guerra y en dramas?
Go ahead, answer. I was asking the name of one movie that Jhon mentioned, but he mentioned that in Spanish, in Latino. It's like El abogado del crimen, but I don't know what is that movie.
The
The
Counselor.
crimes,
Oh, the counselor.
counselor.
The counselor.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
The counselor.
It's two different directors, so it's two different movies. The counselor was Ridley, and he always had a great vision of how to express the movie. I mean, the script was a bit complicated, because some characters were, they were not very deep. You can see them once in the movie, and then they disappear. So the script wasn't easy to be made, but I've seen it lately. It's not a bad movie. It's just that it didn't do so well because of a lot of people couldn't understand. I think the process of filmmaking really depends on the director. Some directors are more visual, some directors are more into words. So it's more close up or more images. You need to adjust as an operator. You need to adjust for what the director is trying to do, and try to kind of feel what is try to accomplish, and then try to offer what he's looking for. So it's really depending on the director. I mean, we are trying to interpret what he's trying to say, or the way he visualized the movie, and then try to help him to produce that, basically.
All right, Daniel, my question to you is, what is the relationship between movies like Matrix and a production like a TV series like Sense8? I mean, the mixes, the tone, the atmosphere, because you work with the directors Wachowski, right? So
Yeah.
what is the relationship and your experience with working in the set because these movies, or in my opinion, had a little relationship between the atmosphere and the tone in the set. So go ahead, my friend. I'm a huge Matrix fan. The first movie is a masterpiece and a classic, and I consider it as a documentary too about our real life situations and reality. Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, you know, the Wachowskis, you know, Lana and Lily, they, when the first movie I did with him was, I did an additional unit on a movie called Speed Racer. And then when they did Cloud Atlas, they hired, you know, this director for like Jhon, and they got my name as well. They remember my name, so they asked me to do the movie. And we only did half of the movie because, you know, Cloud Atlas was, there were 8 different characters. So there were 8 different stories, and we are just saying story of 4 characters. And there was another director who was doing the other 4 stories. So the process was different. And then we did another movie, Jupiter Ascending, and then they come out with this story, which is Sense8, a TV series for Netflix. And after that, they decide to do the last Matrix, which is different from the first one. Because, you know, for them is a different time of their life. So when they did the first Matrix, they were different person. And that's it. That time was the way they see the life, they see their, you know, the world. After, you know, all the developing in their life, they decide, obviously, they want to live in a different ways. So the last Matrix is actually a step forward to that Matrix. And if you analyze it, I mean, there's many years between the two of them, and how much computers, you know, internet, all that developed to what we are now. So where, you know, social media, where in the last Matrix, they do that, you know, brainstorm when they talk about what is the Matrix. Because Lana, one day, she told me that everybody was going to her and tell her what the Matrix was. But look at what it became now, you know, a lot of videos of cats, or, you know, bullet time. So it's a bit, they really analyze how the society has changed from the first Matrix, when you know, you think that it's really air what you're breathing. And now it's all, you know, videos about cats, or metaverse, or all that stuff. So, I mean, is that developing in a good way? Not so sure. I mean, before we still control. I mean, the movie says that we are still controlled by the Matrix, but they took us in a lower level, because now, you know, on Facebook and all those things, when you talk to someone, you don't really know who you're talking to. They can create an avatar. They can be a different person. You don't really know where the truth is. You know, you have all this fake news. So who knows? I mean, they really analyze it. I mean, they decide not to make an action movie like the first one, and go deeper into what the meaning of Matrix is. And because especially Lana, she changed so much. She wanted to do a movie about love. I mean, that's the thing. You know, at the end of the movie, you realize that the strongest thing that creates the most amount of energy is love between, you know, Neo and Trinity. So, but unfortunately, some people didn't understand that.
Daniels, actually, I defend the movie. When I watch the movie, I create like a little review. I wrote a review in my social networks, and I defend the movie because I'm a huge fan of the Matrix one. It's one of the most important movies in life to me, and this one is different, but the plot and the message is clear, man. You have told, and you have spoken about that, right? So I understand the movie. I really want to see what's next. I know that movie is controversial for one base of the fans, and the other defended. But I really enjoy and like the movie. And then today is it was an honor, this an honor to tell you about this movie because I have watched Cloud Atlas, Gladiator, Equilibrium, Exodus, Kings and God, Ridley Scott. Even you work with Martin Scorsese in Guns for New York, so your CV is great, and congratulations for your work and keep it enjoy it because I realize you are a happy man and you enjoy your job, and that's it, right? That's the meaning of life.
Yes,
Jhon,
absolutely.
you got another question?
Thank you, José. Bueno, Andrés, toca que finalices.
Y tú me das el honor de mencionar esas dos películas, ¿cierto?
Claro.
Okay, as a final, it's like I'm happy because you made the photography from the rest. We close the circle because here we got the actress from the new rest, but you made the photography for the classic series, so I love it. And the question is, anything you can tell us about Napoleon and Gladiator? Go ahead, anything.
Well, Napoleon is going to be released in November. I think it's going to be a very interesting movie. You know, it's not an easy character for an actor because Napoleon wasn't an hero that, like, you know, the gladiator would fight with somebody else. He would just stand on a hill with a binocular and tell people, you know, to go and fight. So I think it was very difficult for Joaquin to find a way to create a good character. And I think he did a great job. So I think it's, you know, I haven't seen it, finished, but I think it's going to be a very interesting project. On Gladiator, I cannot say anything because, we are filming it now. So I need to sign up a disclosure contract. So I can't reveal any information at the moment. I'm sorry. But unfortunately, we had to stop filming because of the actor strike. So hopefully they solve it soon and we can go back and finish it. But at the moment, we just wrapped yesterday. I'm going to travel back home tomorrow. And once they solve the problem with the strike, hopefully we can come back and finish it.
Muchas gracias por la pregunta. Bueno, por último, yo quisiera pedirle el favor a Daniel si le puede enviar un saludo a un cineasta español que la verdad lo admira muchísimo, que se llama Ruben Arnaiz. Y cercamos con una foto y todo.
Make some greetings to a Spanish filmmaker. What's the name? Jhon, ¿cuál es el nombre?
Ruben Arnaiz.
If you can send greetings to Ruben Arnaiz, he's a Spanish filmmaker and he is a fan of your work, right?
Well, all I can say, you know, as a cinematographer, the good thing about cinematography, you realize how cinematographers, there is a big connection everywhere in the world. You know, wherever you come from a different country, there is always a good relation with all of them. So, you know, keep working hard and, you know, try always to do your best because that's all that counts. You know, it's not important the money, it's not important everything else. We are making art and it's good to make art. So keep trying.
And thanks for your advice. It's to me too because I'm a death metal singer. I had a band and I take care about the art, the artwork of the records and also the photographies because I love cinema and cinema is art. And thank you so much for your time in this interview. And we would like to have a picture with you, the interviewers and you, Daniel. So Jhon is going to take the picture. He's going to take the picture, right?
Sorry,
Jhon,
I'm
go
only
ahead.
in my hotel
No,
room.
no problem.
Yeah,
It's good.
absolutely.
It's good.
No, it's good. It's not.
It's good.
Okay.
Good.
Daniel, ¿alguna red social o algo o algún mensaje en específico para cerrar?
No. Muchas
Social
gracias por
networks?
my pleasure to be able to do this interview with you. I think cinema, the good thing about cinema, there are no borders. It's all, we're all together, which is especially nowadays where people are struggling. There is a war in Ukraine, all that mess. But cinema, filmmaking is still, a big community, which is the best part of it.
No, Daniel, thank you so much.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank
No,
you.
gracias a
Thank
Andrés,
you.
a José, a Mosquito. Gracias, Daniel.
Thank you.
Gracias. Good job. Having good. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, bye, boys.
Bye bye.